It's my pleasure to be here, and thanks for joining everybody that joins via Zoom and the live streaming, and the founders that are here. It's a special day today. We are actually in the last stages of Applied Data Incubator. For the ones that do not know us, we are a 6 months pre-seed incubation program. We care about applied data, about artificial intelligence, and we actually present to you the second cohort today here in Berlin. Why in Berlin? Smart data solutions are needed everywhere, but especially for mid-sized companies, for small companies, for governments, and we think Berlin is the right spot to support that kind of innovation. Keep in mind the companies that you see here today have only worked on their ideas for 6 months. Some of them actually came out of a hackathon, and they got financial support. They worked on their solution 100% for the last 6 months, supported by grants from the Berlin Senate, the European Social Fund, and the European Commission. They had free co-working, but also a lot of coaches and mentors. And just to name a few of them and show you 8 faces out of the 30, 40 supporters that we had in the past, we started with the hackathon early on in spring, nearly a year ago, and the jury, the coaches and the mentors that helped the startups to develop their ideas were the first supporters that we had. So big shout out to them if you are in the Zoom call, if you are looking. Thank you for your support last year in spring. You also see some faces, familiar faces that we will see today. So 2 of the companies that you will see today actually battled in the first hackathon. It took a while to get them here due to other commitments and also visa. So we are very happy to have them. So a familiar face, for instance, is Kai that is going to pitch first. Then we joined activities in Berlin, and again, we are very happy to be here because there's a vivid ecosystem. We, developers, gave us the opportunity to get to know more developers, know tech people, and exchange ideas. You also see our teams mingling with the crowd. We had Berliner Hochfest, just to name a few activities that we did that led to the day today. So shout out to everybody also from the government that supported us, provided data, and also gave us the opportunity to be heard. Then we had Data Natives. Special event for us last year, as I mentioned, second cohort. So we already had a first cohort. So last year in August, we actually went through such a demo day already with 3 of our first teams. They presented at one of the biggest data conferences here in Berlin. You know, there was a fire that we did, the test, and we really, really appreciated the opportunity to also showcase to a larger audience. What also happened in August last year, we actually selected the teams that you will see today. So for many of them, it was the first opportunity to pitch on a larger stage, and now we have them here on stage. And if you look back to Data Natives, we will also see that their ideas changed, evolved, and they pivoted a lot. Followed by innovation prizes and awards, breakfast with influential women here. We have Mina on stage, a good example for a network and influential woman. So we actually also got a lot of support from the ecosystem here in Berlin, and we want to shout out and thank you again for everything that happened. And yes, also a big shout out to the first cohort that helped us to develop a program to support the second cohort. You see some of the faces. And again, these teams are rocking, they're up and running. They are now watching, hopefully, and again, thanks for also supporting the second cohort that is here. As I mentioned, the second cohort only joined us in November, so 6 very short months. We hope you will enjoy what they present today. We hope that the jitters here on stage will be gone in a couple of minutes after the keynote. They have to present here. We hope that they're also smiling and having a good time. And you will see some of the faces, but not all of the faces today, because the team lead is pitching. But please remember, behind every team, there's a large team that supports. So the startups that you see here today have between 2 and 4 team members. So in the backstage, in the Zoom conversation, also reach out to the other team members that are in the Zoom call. And do not hesitate to ask questions, to get in touch with the teams afterwards. This is the beginning of their startup journey. It's our pleasure to be part of the first parts of the journey. And we hope that you will be part of the second part of the journey. Invest in them, give them opportunities to use data, pilot projects, but also mentoring and coaching is something that they're highly looking after. Enjoy the day.
Now we are getting to the good part, the juicy part of the live stream, where we're going to be looking at or hearing from the 6 data-driven startups. So we're going to be starting with Supergy, followed by Getinvestors, then STArtLab, followed by DeepFile, Doze, and last but not least, Composite Vision. So be sure to ask your questions during the pitch, because we have 6 minutes for the pitch and 3 minutes for the questions. So we want to have the questions as we go into the Q&A section and not during the Q&A section. So leave them in a comment wherever you're watching from, and we have moderators in the back, which will shoot them up to me. So we're going to get started. First, we have up Strategy, who is tackling climate change and electrification on construction sites, which isn't somewhere where you'd normally think to find it. Come on up.
Thank you very much, Nicole.
Knock 'em dead.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Very happy and very excited to be here today and talk about Supergy. And while some of you might think of going skiing now, I would actually change that and onboard you on our vision of zero-emission construction. Speaking of my co-founder Till has construction in his DNA. Being a member of a family-led construction company in 5th generation and holding a PhD in battery technology, he knows exactly where to utilize this technology. I myself bring more than 10 years of experience in zero-emission technology. Having led teams in the development of electric cars and also in strategy management projects, I know how to economically scale zero-emission applications. To start off, I want to give you a little bit of facts about what we are discussing today. So in construction sites, today a lot of diesel and energy generally is wasted or spent, right? So resulting in quite a high financial and also emission impact. Fast forwarding to our vision of zero emission. Obviously, we have zero local emissions. That's great and awesome, but obviously that's no surprise. But did you know, and that's where the trick is, that 90% of the energy savings can actually be just shaved off with zero emission? And to better explain this, let's look at our first use case. Right now, if you go to a big construction site, you will see those diesel generators. And these diesel generators, they have a big issue because they usually run in underload, so at low efficiency, and they are idling, resulting in a high diesel waste. But if we add a battery to this, then we get 3 advantages. One, we can downscale the generator, which again runs less often, and if running, it always runs at optimal efficiency, thus resulting in huge savings. Unfortunately, there is no one battery-fits-all construction site solution. So out of 60 interviews which we conducted, we learned that it's not the hardware which is the missing piece, but the actual means to deploy it. Just imagine you are the construction manager. So the first issue you are facing is how do I select a battery and where do I find it? And the problem gets even worse, because once you've done that successfully for one construction site, due to the heterogeneity of construction sites, you cannot just scale it to the next site, but you have to repeat this process over and over again. And that's where we come in, because we want to scale hardware with our software. Tackling the aforementioned problems, our software is able to include the construction site-specific requirements and automatically create solution options for the construction manager. So if we go to the screen on the right column, you're the construction manager, you will see, oh, there's a conventional option. So the way I did it before, I use an 80 kilowatt generator, which will cost me 16,000 euros. And I see another option, the cheapest one. So I can downscale the generator to 40 kilowatt, add another battery, and this in total will provide me with 11% of savings and more than 40% of CO2 reduction. And if I have some budget over to reduce CO2 emissions even more, then there's a third option as well provided to me. Our mission is to make the electric transformation and construction as easy as possible for the construction companies. That's why we cover the whole value chain. As just shown, our first step is to automatically derive the whole solution for each and every construction site. In the next step, we will break down the solution and match and orchestrate it to the required hardware suppliers and hardware rental companies which we need to provide the solution to the construction sites. So for the construction company, it's quite easy. They can sit back, not relax, and enjoy the savings. And thirdly, since we then have the information, the data, and everything in our hands, we are the only ones who can then lever the data and AI to drive electrification forward, eventually achieving our vision of zero-emission construction. We're hitting a big market and a huge demand. Just to name two examples, there's Goldbeck Solar, for example, who develop or who construct solar farms on remote areas. For this, they need diesel generators for all of their projects. And this kind of sounds weird, right? Renewable energy is built with diesel generators. Secondly, Wolf & Müller, they have, as earlier mentioned, they already have some experience battery, but face the problem that they cannot scale it. So they already told us that they are desperately waiting for our software. If we look at the competition, then there are basically two archetypes. In the bottom right, we have the incumbents with their heavy machinery, heavy diesel machinery, so they don't have any financial motivation to move into electric mobility. On the top left, we have the newly or recently founded startups, which have typically 1 or 2 batteries, solar frames, etc. in their portfolio. So they have to find this one construction site which they can actually provide a solution to. And we are the only one serving construction, for every construction site and every construction company the right solution. With that being said, I would like to thank you all and hope that you are now thinking of zero-emission construction.
Excellent job. So just remain up here for the Q&A. We have a question from Nicholas. Will the customer be able to make the decision on what energy solution will be better on their own, or with Supergy providing a service around the solution to help them understand options and choose the best path?
Absolutely. So it's, in my understanding, it's not an exclusive or. So on the one hand, we indeed want to provide the construction company different options. So we deliberately want to provide, okay, you can also go for the conventional one. But as we know that the construction companies, they run on low margins, etc., they will be incentivized once they see that there are savings actually related to the battery provided solution, for example. And this is mentioned with the second step, providing the ecosystem. We also want to work together with service partners, etc., to also take care, for example, of the commissioning on the construction sites itself.
And why do you think that construction companies have been slow to move over to sustainable energy? I mean, there's a lot of incentives in the area to be carbon neutral.
This is actually quite a broad topic. To make it short, right now there is not a lot of regulation in terms of sustainability when it comes to construction sites. Good news is in other European countries it's already happening. So Netherlands, Denmark, Scandinavia, it's happening already. So no incentivization right now. Secondly, now is the best time because we have all the scaling. So I know from firsthand, automotive, battery, etc., the prices have dropped so much. Before it was just not economically viable. So now it's the perfect time, and that's why we want to lead the construction companies into doing it.
And so, do you think that regulation is going to help your business in the near term?
Yes. So right now, honestly speaking, we are looking at the German market, but we want to extend it to the aforementioned countries. Netherlands, UK, Scandinavia, to also benefit from the wind, which the regulation provides us with. Wonderful.
Thank you so much for the excellent presentation. I'm really excited to see construction sites become a little more carbon neutral.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Thank you.
So up next, we have Getinvestors, who is bringing together who's actually matchmaking founders, investors, and suppliers. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much. Hello everyone, I'm Gianpaolo, the founder of Getinvestors AI Navigator, imaging a matchmaking software for founders, investors and suppliers in your specific country or industry. Founders, investors and suppliers are three completely separate worlds. They need to work together, but the problem is they don't know each other. That's why we have built a Getinvestors AI Navigator that is a simple Google Maps, vertical and specific for startup ecosystem with direct payments and geolocation. For example, climate tech in Germany, that is just one single industry. There are so many players, so many companies, and the problem is that you don't even know from where you can start. Imagine instead a Getinvestors AI Navigator that helps you exactly with that. It's a super easy and fast solution to save tons of money, effort and time for you and for your company. There are different websites out of there that are working and try to resolve the problem about the startup ecosystem. So it clearly demonstrates that the problem is really big. People already pay for it, and there is a huge opportunity market side to scale faster and better with AI. But let's go deeper. For example, Crunchbase or PitchBook, they are basically selling reports and lists. But what you can do with that? You can do basically nothing. You need to open every single links, read all this stuff, and try to understand if there is a good match or not. Imagine instead if a software does all this job directly for you. At the moment, we are focused mainly in Europe and USA, and in some countries where the startup ecosystem is more active. In fact, in this way, you can quickly filter and find the best companies directly around you, by industry, by country, by stage, or simply directly around you in your specific country or industries. At the moment, we have already collected more than 50,000 founders, 20,000 investors, and 10,000 suppliers, well collected and organized in different countries or industries. We have a working software prototype already available from all devices. In this way, you can quickly find your best founders, investors, or suppliers directly around you. You can also save your best companies in your private company watching list. You can scroll the pitch deck, you can access to the private company data room, and naturally only for angel and private investors. And you can also book a meeting directly with the founders. We have the first paid clients, basically from all over the world, mainly from Germany, Italy, and USA. And it clearly demonstrates that the software already works, even if it is just the first version prototype, and people are already ready to pay for it. In fact, we are building a small community around the software. We started with some pitch events. We started with just 20 people, and now we are around 200 people every event. But let's make some realistic example. For example, Benedetta, she is a founder from Italy. She wanted to expand the activity also here in Germany, but she didn't know even from where she can start. Thanks to Getinvestors, she met Federica. Now they are working together and they are expanding the activity also here in the German market. Also from the investor perspective, there are, for example, one of the most active business angel groups here in Italy. They were looking for a company specialized in the energy and battery industry, and they are now working together. Also for the suppliers, for example, I met Aliona from USA. They basically provide a finance office on demand, and you can connect their software directly with your income and expenses. So you can give the access to your investors or tax advisors directly and without writing any single lines in Excel. We are also working with different accelerators here in Germany and also in Italy. And also we provide some custom research for the Spanish government. There is a perfect team behind. Basically, we are 3 developers, 1 digital sales expert, and 2 fintech advisors. The business model is pretty simple. It's a B2B SaaS, from 250 to 20,000 per year, naturally based on which kind of profile. And if we are speaking about the number that we already have, basically we are speaking about more than 125 million per year in annual recurring revenue. The roadmap is pretty clear. At the moment, we are focused on our first paid clients, and we will optimize the software and the sales flow optimization. Why now is the perfect moment to join our company? Because based on the official data market size, there are more than 100 million new startups every year, naturally in different countries or industries. If we consider just in Europe, the numbers of startups increased 10x in the last 10 years. So this is the perfect moment to join us, and I am really happy to connect with the startup strategic partners and commercial partners specialized in the startup ecosystem. Thank you very much for your attention.
Good work.
Thank you.
Excellent. So I actually have a few questions for you from the live stream. So what is your potential basket size, I mean money, once you facilitate a match?
Do you mean the match?
Yeah.
So can you repeat the question?
So like
please?
when there's a match, like how much is usually transacted, or do you have like a average or the potential?
I prefer personally, because of the business model that we already have, I prefer don't enter in the deal directly, because I don't want to be like a middleman and or like an agent or something like that. We just want to provide the best match possible. So we know and we follow up the startup also later, but we don't enter inside the deal directly.
I like that. And so Will has a question. How do you make sure your data is good? For example, how do you know that startups are still operating / raising / open to investment?
Very good questions. Right now, while we are speaking, our software is working and is currently scanning and mapping all the startup ecosystem out of there in different country or industry. So we are able to collect the data as much update as possible. Naturally, there is a human touch at the hand, because the founder can update directly the data by themselves, and they can manage directly from their phone or their laptop or whatever it is. And in this way, the combination of data and the human touch provide the best result possible.
So without the human touch, how often are you refreshing the data? You just collect it once and then it sits there?
No. Basically, is currently scanning and updated automatically the data. So it's the best updating data available.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Happy to connect.
Yeah, exactly. Happy to connect. You guys make sure that you're reaching out on the chat, and these guys will get back to you. If you leave a question that I haven't been able to include in the Q&A, they'll be able to respond to you after the live stream.
Thank you very much.
So, no, thank you very much. So again, be sure to leave your questions during the presentation so that we have them at the start of the Q&A. So up next, we have STArtLab, who's bringing together science, tech, and art. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Dr. Shama Rahman, and I have spent the last 17 years in the industry of innovation and creativity as an entrepreneur, R&D innovator, and artist. And integrating these approaches together, STArtLab's vision is to enhance your mind to be creative, productive, and happy. We are currently in the wave of creative AI tools that concentrate on the output and the product. But what about the process of human creativity? How do we augment human creativity and future-proof creativity as a key skill for the future workforce by 2030 as AI and automation grow? In fact, it is the top skill for resilience and is joined by innovation and active learning strategies as the top 3 skills. Improving cognitive skills leads to higher GDP. Creative humans are critical to survive in the commercial world, as creative companies outperform on BMI like talent acquisition and also share of voice efficiency. So your euro spent actually goes 10 times further. So creativity is the new productivity. And our solution has been designed with the neuroscience of creativity based on my PhD looking at flow states which improve creativity, cognitive flexibility, and stress resilience. It is AI-enabled in order to guide our users through the different stages of the creative process by digitizing design thinking tools and creative techniques into a creative innovation toolbox, really enhancing human and AI collaboration by visualizing domain-specific knowledge organized across 183 million semantic spaces, and sparking creativity by analyzing and augmenting your patterns and insights to help you synthesize. So take Matthias, who spends about 50% of his time researching, ideating, and strategizing, but is utilizing tools like Post-it notes and Miro that don't necessarily help him synthesize or stimulate his creativity in a particular subject, which he might not have that much insight about, or a particular industry, or he might just not feel up to it every single day. This leads to delays and variability in the quality of his creative process and output, increased time pressure for him, increased stress. In turn, this leads to Anik, his boss, who's a creative agency owner, to lose him, because in fact, there's a greater than 20% churn rate in the creative industries than any other. This leads to unhappy clients, and Anik ends up losing her operating profit margin. Now, if Matthias had utilized our tool, the Flow Create Innovator, in order to explore a branding strategy for the company and client that he's working with, he would be entering the topics that he'd be interested in exploring, and they would be visually organized, such as this mind map. And very quickly, our AI associations, trained from our knowledge graphs across different domains within culture, science, design, tech, business, gives him associations around the topic. Design thinking tools are nudging him to empathize from different perspectives. He is encouraged to think laterally, broaden out his research, challenge his assumptions, and identify any blind spots. And with this diversity of ideas and breadth of research, he can then generate taglines, copy, haikus, and brainstorm further for inspiration, and back this up with research reports and databases and analytics. Now, after this expansion, he can then analyze all of his ideas in order to detect patterns utilizing psychographic and storytelling techniques, looking at things like user personas, how to communicate to the target audience, what are the story arcs, and what are their motivations for the stakeholders to actually get involved in this brand. And then he can organize all of his ideas in a mood board visually. And our AI prompts can then help him extract the essence of his topics and his inspiration, of the summaries, and also different innovation frameworks and strategy and creativity, marketing, and business. And he can then share this with his team, collaborate, and flow. And this is all ready to share with their clients. It's an end-to-end no-code innovation platform for creative and design thinking. So even if Matthias saves, say, 20% time on this project, if a project costs about $1 million, and there are over 100 projects like this a year, this saves Anik about $20 million a year. And don't take our word for it. We already have traction with 10 paid pilots with a revenue $50K across companies within creative, innovation, design thinking, and design. Across large companies such as MediaCom with enterprise level, SMEs such as Tonic, and also studios such as Gap in the Matrix, who also utilize it in turn with their clients such as Disney. We've been commissioned by the UK government, and we've also had educational licenses, including with Berlin's Hasso-Plattner Institute. So as Camilla Garre, UNICEF's art director, says, it's like a second brain. Christina Vance says, it gives my mind a little reset, a ball pit from my brain. So you can see the cognitive health angle we're going in with here as well. Augmented intelligence, interesting to use an AI to find ideas that our biased minds find hard to come up with. We've been featured in Forbes, the RSA Tech for Good Awards, and one of the top 100 createch companies. Our market size is huge, and we are coming in the beachhead market of creative collaboration software and creative cloud for creative, strategy, innovation, design thinking professionals, communicators, and creators. We have a B2B SaaS model ranging from 30 to 150 euros per month, and we're projecting our first year's revenue to be 133K a year. Our STArtLab team is amazing. We are a team of neuroscientists, cognitive AI engineers, designers, artists, and even have an advisor from Google's DeepMind. And today, we're looking for $1 million in investments in order to further develop and personalize our product with flow digital biomarkers that can really personalize the experience, is neuroadaptive, and also feeds to neurodiverse users. And not only is it personalized from a physiological perspective, you're also going to be utilizing our explainable domain-specific knowledge graphs that you can actually upload your own data to, and we lead to an enhanced and gamified creative process. So this really is our USP of neurodesign, which helps us knock all the other competitors out of the park with personalization, collaboration, and domain specialist AI. So please join us, help us through investment, and we're looking at a range from, say, 50K in convertibles, up to equity of 250 to 500, and we're also looking for strategic partners. So please do get in touch. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we do have some questions from the audience,
Yeah.
which is why I jumped up here.
Yeah, sure.
So Eric wants to know, do you use your own AI models or existing ones?
We use our own knowledge graphs. We were around pre the big explosion. But we, as you can see, are also helping people actually engineer their prompts. And we are then integrating tastefully with certain APIs currently, but we're also looking at building our own knowledge graphs. In addition to our knowledge graphs, our own large language models. And we're also building our own stable diffusion and image models as well.
So when you say you're building your own APIs, these would be to be able to interact with existing large platforms that big companies might work with, like Asana or...
Yeah, so in general, for our entire sort of platform, we are also creating an API so that it can integrate into the overall workflow, whether it's Asana, Jira, or Slack, for example. So really trying to smooth out the workflow process. And yeah, we're basically providing an extra value in terms of we're allowing our customers to actually upload their own data as well.
And so this would get around any IP issues, because this was going to be my next question. Like, will the models be limited because you don't just have the entire internet to pull from, or like how are you going to balance that?
So far we have knowledge graphs that are quite generalized across, say, innovation, creative culture, and experience. And we actually worked with our target customers in order to fact check it before we actually created these knowledge graphs. So if they kind of provide a foundation, we're then going into more specialist areas, working with companies who might work in, for example, FMCG, or like, an artist who then wants to go, hey, I want to create more of like my particular branded sort of look. So then that remains their property, and they can then mine their own data utilizing our visualized frameworks and way of thinking.
And so you kind of moved quickly past the competitors slide. A lot of us who use AI would be very familiar with, say, Midjourney or something like this. How does your image generation compare to an existing platform that's popular on the market now?
So as I was mentioning, a lot of the creative AI tools that are out there right now are really focusing on the output and the product, but not necessarily putting their emphasis on how the process is being done. And if the quality of the process is not up to par, then the output is unlikely to be up to par. And so we're really helping our humans essentially also really delve down on the creative techniques and building on it from the bottom up. And so our aim is actually to have better prompts that they could then utilize with other sort of tools like that. But we're also providing this in-house as an end-to-end no-code innovation platform. So they don't have to swap around with lots of these things.
Perfect. Thank you so much for answering all those questions. You did an excellent job.
Thank you very much.
And I'm really excited to play around with it later.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So again, thank you guys for your questions. Be sure to ask them during the presentation so that we have them for the Q&A. Up next, we have DeepFile.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm Francesco, nice to meet you, and let me introduce you to DeepFile. Day-to-day work is dealing with large amount of documents, and we all know that organizing them is an art, especially if we consider that everything's come from the download folder today. We know that is very time-consuming and it requires constant commitment and dedication, but we found a solution for this: to simply don't care. This is the fastest and easiest solution, but we all know that it's not complete. Let's make an example. You are working for a company, and all of a sudden a client calls you and asks you a legit question like, what was the valuation set for one dome? And you start a process of searching for the answer. So you dig into your file, you open them, you scroll them, you use the search tool. Eventually, you maybe find it, but you know that it's frustrating and time-consuming. So it's not a big deal if it's for you alone, but if we multiply that to everybody working for your company, and if we agree that time is money, then for the company it's getting very expensive. And what if there was a Google or a ChatGPT for your company network? Like, as we can see here, we ask the same question, pre-money valuation of one DOM, and we get to the answer in a fraction of a second, as well as the source of the answer. And that's what we do. We made AI work offline for your company. So you can forget keywords and ask any question. And DeepFile will provide you with the answer and the file with the answer. So let's get back to the example, and let's see DeepFile in action. So we can see that the process is happening offline if you look top right, and then you, of course, type the question, press enter, and you get to the solution, to the answer, sorry, as well as the source of the answer, where you can see highlighted the passage where we got the answer from. And what we can see, say about our architecture is to highlight that our is a complete local process, so it happens offline, as I said earlier, and we don't depend from any APIs. To market our product, our focus today is going to be manufacturing and professional small, medium enterprises, which in Europe are 25 million. And if you consider only the company in Germany that are in focus, we get to 700,000. Regarding our go-to-market strategy, it's going to be multi-layered. We are going to have a SaaS B2B to get to a quick market entry, and then we will pair it with a licensing model to have a rapid global scaling, and eventually we will going to test a B2C on product to realize full margin potential in-house. If we look at the competition, we can say that traditional local search proved to be rather obsolete and are being replaced by generative AI solution, which proved to be super cool and they perform pretty well. The only problem is that they all work with a cloud solution. It means that your company data necessarily have to be stored in their clouds, and we decided to make a step forward, removing the need for having AI depending on clouds. And that's how we came we came out with the solution of DeepFile. So having AI that work in your company network, namely offline. We believe to be the right team to lead the execution because we are first a very diverse team, and secondly, we really complement each other because we put together a very high level of AI expertise paired with business development and startup experience. If you look at our roadmap right now, to become the leading offline search solution, we can start saying what we have right now, which is a team and an MVP ready. And if we focus on the first year OKRs, we are going to start operation with pilots, have a hiring plan to further develop the product, and of course, define the product market fit. For that reason, we are now fundraising 300,000 euro to support the project. And of course, we are always open to for pilots, for testing the product, and become part of DeepFile evolution. Because DeepFile is not just a search tool for us, we want to be the pioneers of responsible artificial intelligence, and you can be part of it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
So can you tell me a little bit more about your business model?
Okay, our business model, as I said earlier, is going to be multi-layered. First, we want to deploy this solution to companies. Like business model going to be a software as a service targeting B2B so businesses, and so that is going to be the initial part. But of course, we don't want to limit to that because we are aware about the fact that there are already a lot of pretty interesting and complete solution out there. So we are going to offer our solution with a white labeling and licensing model to already existing software, and that is our core business model for now. And also in the future, we believe that is going to be something that can actually solve the problem for everybody, not just for company. We are going to test a B2C solution, but that's going to be after we found our product market fit, of course.
And just to like imagine this roadmap of after, what do you think a B2C product would look like? How would it differ from a B2B product? Do you have any ideas yet?
Of course. Like when it comes to B2B and B2C, for now to have our product to make sense, you need to deal with large amount of files, because of course you can deploy today as a B2B as a person, but you might be using one time, but I don't see yourself using that every day. So like that is paired with our vision. Our vision is not just to provide a cool search tool, but we want to replace the need of you thinking about structuring your document in your laptop, because we believe that it's a boring task, and boring tasks can be automatized by computers. So if you think about Google, you have no clue on where a website is stored, but you do know that if you have the name of the website, or if you type on Google what you're looking for, you find it. So it's not important where the things are stored, and that's what we want to do for the B2C world, like for people as well.
And I'm very excited for that, because me personally, when I was a Windows user, I basically just used search because I couldn't get my head around where anything was stored. And it was pretty limited on Windows.
It's not just a Windows user, it's a problem of
for
many
everyone.
people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so thank you so very
Thank you.
much. Yeah, it was great.
So see you later. Bye-bye.
All right, so thank you, DeepFile. If you guys have any questions, be sure to share them in the chats before the following during the following presentation, so that they're ready for the Q&A. Maybe we can get the slides up before the next presentation? Perfect. All right, so now we have Doze. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. At Doze, we develop comprehensive digital solution that leverages AI to manage diabetic foot ulcer. What does it mean to suffer from foot ulcer? Diabetic foot ulcer is an open sore at the bottom of the foot that does not heal well. People with diabetes have this kind of foot ulcers because of nerve damage called peripheral neuropathy and poor circulation. Poor sensation due to peripheral neuropathy does not let them feel the pain. Poor circulation allows the skin to break down, causing the ulcer. The ulcer can sometimes lead to infection, which spreads to bone, leading to the death of soft tissue called gangrene. To reduce the spread of infection, the doctor sometimes have to amputate a toe, part of the foot, or an entire foot. Patients feel a lot of pain, but also doctors have limitations. What do doctors wish for? Doctors wish for patients' compliance throughout the treatment. They would also like real-time wound healing tracking mechanism, and of course, standardized platform for documentation and communication. Keeping this in mind, together with my co-founder Sham and lots of advisors, we are developing digital wound care management application platform. Sam, who has extensive experience in computer science, is going to take care of product and business development, and me, with extensive experience in biomedical technology, I will take care of technology development. Our solution can impact millions of patients, saving billions of healthcare costs. Our solution is a mobile and web app with simple interface for patients and doctors. Computer vision AI powers ulcer identification. ChatGPT powers question answer platform. We are focusing at diabetic foot ulcer at the moment, but the technology can power additional products for wounds identification. Our AI-powered solutions helps the patients and doctors share data in real time, allowing doctors to make critical decisions and reduce hospital visit and stay. Unlike other generic solutions, our solution can be personalized, and if the customer agrees, we can fine-tune model in their specific data. So for patients, we provide the ability to self-monitor their wounds and get easy-to-understand advice in private. For the doctors, they can get real-time data for critical decisions and, of course, use our platform for easy documentation and communication. This saves a lot of cost for healthcare in reduced hospital stays and reduced operation cost. We would like to distinguish ourselves from other player in the other wound care management app in the market by providing AI-enabled solution specifically for diabetic foot ulcer patients. As a healthcare business, we need to work with the regulatory bodies. For instance, in Germany, we will work with the DIGA regulatory bodies, which allows us to be reimbursed by the health insurance. We will do the similar in other countries as well. And for self-paying patients, we will explore subscription model. This year, we will focus on developing the technology and bringing the minimum viable product to the customers and test this in hospital and clinics. Actually, we already have a partner with a novel wound care product company who is interested in our technology, who is interested to test with their users. Let's dive deeper into our product. It is very important to recognize the ulcer very early. To this end, we have fine-tuned a computer vision model which recognizes ulcer from normal skin 95% of the time. However, this is in pre-processed data. Can this model also perform in real-life data? False identification can create unnecessary anxiety. To this end, we have developed a question-answer platform leveraging ChatGPT. We are indexing and storing a lot of articles relating to treatment and management of diabetic ulcer. When a user asks a question, the question is compared to the database and relevant docs is extracted from the database. This is then fed to the large language model ChatGPT, which provides appropriate answer. So the users can upload their own photo in our platform, and our algorithm is able to classify these wound products as either diabetics, ulcer, or normal. And we also show the patients what exactly in the picture did the algorithm take into account. They can then further go in our chat platform and ask, so do I need to take any medicine if my wound is already infected? And our algorithm is able to provide answers, not only yes and no answer, but also what kind of medicines that should the patient take, providing the sources where exactly it got this information. And we provide two modes, one for the managing diabetes for long-lasting patients and one for treating for the newly diagnosed patients. We need your help to bring this product to the market. We are looking for medical healthcare partners and investors. We are also looking for medical learning, machine learning engineers and clinical experts to bring this product to the patients. Thank you for your interest.
Perfect, excellent. You were nervous for no reason. You did great.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so we do have a few questions from the audience. Martin has two that come together. So what is your strategy regarding go-to-market and business model, and which countries are you targeting first?
So as a business based in Germany, so we actually have to start with German market. So our partner is in the USA. So our first market is for Germany and USA. So Germany is going to be very difficult because digitization in healthcare is quite behind in Germany. So I think our testing and the first go-to-market is the United States.
And do you have a strategy for the go-to-market?
So we have to. So we are still in product development and user testing mode. So we have to first go to the clinics, to our partners, and they test first in the doctors and in the patients. We get their feedback, we improve our products, and when it's ready, then we can launch to other clinics and hospitals. Okay. Where we also partner with hospitals who is doing diabetes care management. So there are already lots of patients.
Perfect. So we have several questions to get to. So Victoria has a question. Can you apply this technology to other diseases?
Yeah, as I mentioned, so yeah, it's a computer vision, so it's a mobile net, efficient net. So it's a object detection model which we apply to detect some kind of pixels alteration in the images. So yeah, of course, this can be applied to any kind of medical images, and the ChatGPT powered question answer can be applied to not only healthcare actually, but lots of other domains. But of course, we focus on healthcare because yeah, we really care about data privacy and yeah, serving the patients well. So
Okay,
yeah.
and Martin has another question. DIGA by regulation has to be mainly used by patients, but your solution seems to be targeted at doctors and nurses. Is this?
So actually, we will have two interface. So yeah, so there's a separate interface for doctors and patients.
professions?
Yeah, sorry, patients and the doctors. And yeah, so if we go through DIGA regulatory, the doctor has to prescribe it to the patient. So maybe patients cannot directly download our application and use, but that really depends after we work with the regulatory bodies and yeah, and our clinical partners.
Perfect. You did great. Thank you so very much for taking the time. I'll take the clicker back.
Thank you.
Excellent work.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So we're down to our final startup. So be sure to ask your questions during the pitch so that we have them for the Q&A. Up next, we have Composite Vision.
Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Russ from Composite Vision, where we develop AI-assisted solution for smart quality inspection and maintenance. Advanced materials are today, they are creating our sustainable future. You know, a lot of applications in aerospace, in transportation and construction, but my favorite example is aviation. Unlike this small guy made of plastic, the big aircrafts from Boeing and Airbus consist of more than 50% of smart composite materials based on carbon and glass. I was working in this industry for over 8 years. It is me on the slide in Dayton, Ohio, the real birthplace of aviation as an industry. I was actually creating the composite samples for Boeing aircraft wing and fuselages. Since then, I finished my PhD in mechanics and mathematics, and I observed a lot of imperfections in these processes of inspection and maintenance. The main problem is that the inspection process is extremely time-consuming, and reporting process is tedious. 10,000 aircrafts are in the air right now, and on the ground there are dozens of people who has to go through 3 years of qualification, 2 years of on-site training, and after all, their job is just to look at the pictures they acquire from X-ray or ultrasound or any other methods based on their personal perception. One expert will say it's a defect, another will say I did it for 20 years the same way, it's not. So if we're going to do the same, we're going to be trapped with spending more effort, more resources, and more energy for the same tasks. Composite Vision created an AI-powered solution for automated data post-processing, where like doctors who looks for cancer in aircrafts and other advanced structures to find it 10 times faster with less effort from human, by almost 60%. Let's see how it works in real life. Imagine you're the engineer who just collected the data from the aircraft body. You're trying to process it instead of manually just upload the data into the platform. You wait couple of minutes for analysis, and then you get a full interactive map, something which looks like the moon is actually a composite part, and you can see the most critical issues provided by the program. After all, you can get the report with most relevant stats, and on the top of that, we also work with the real-time data processing for ultrasound and other methods to detect unseen defects. Our market is really big. After COVID has ended, the commercial production has boomed again. On one hand, we have advanced manufacturing market, which is over 100 billion, and on the other, a quality control hardware, which is almost 30 billion euros. We're focusing the market, which is growing really fast and driven by the companies like Boeing and Airbus in the industry. So we are focusing on 5 to 7 billion of digital inspection and maintenance, which is now growing by 20% almost. Our competition is actually funny. It is located in Germany mostly. All these companies are creating AI-powered solutions, but for single materials like metals and only for single metals like X-ray or just for ultrasound. Unlike our competition, we were able to apply the methods we actually watched in different industries like hair care for advanced materials and structures for the aircrafts. We differ from the competition by the fact that we can combine different methods like X-ray, computer tomography, ultrasound together to get the full picture and to reduce the effort from human put into the process. We already developed an MVP. We went through Berlin incubation for the last 6 months, and we talked to over 50 companies, including Airbus and Rolls-Royce. We recently established the collaboration with Technische Hochschule Brandenburg to work with these companies. Let's dive deeper into the company pipeline. We mostly work with aerospace and automotive companies and their suppliers, along with research institutions in this field of advanced manufacturing. Here you can see a list of projects. Some of them are already signed for this next year. If you want to know more about that, just contact me after the presentation. I'll be happy to tell you more. I mean, unless it's not under NDA. One of the success stories we had recently is with Mighty Building Company from US. They 3D print the houses, and they really wanted to reduce the human interference in the process. We developed a solution specifically customized for them and reduced the human interference by 70%, preventing the possible scrap created by the defects. Right now, we are working on aircraft engine turbine blades with the leading companies in this field to make process less dependent on human. That's the main reason why we do that. We want to make it less dependent and faster to reduce the human workload and detect defects more efficiently. The market we aim at in future is maintenance. It's a huge market which is created by companies like Lufthansa Technik, Air France, and other companies. And there people spend a lot of time just looking at the defects on the ready structures during the lifetime of the products. So here we can provide decision making on the flight and reduce the human workload, making the process faster. It doesn't end there. We are also working on applications of emerging market of hydrogen fuel and electric vehicles. And our team is really the best team to do that. We have 2 PhDs in the field of material science and artificial intelligence. We recently built, for the past 3 years, the startup in Luxembourg, working with Airbus, BMW, and Porsche. And we were lucky to acquire our mentor from Technische Hochschule, Professor Flassig, with 20 years of experience. So if you want to build future with us, join the round today. We already have some investors on board. Or if you're just excited as I am, use this QR code to contact me and connect. Thank you.
Perfect. So, can you tell me a little bit about global regulations? So when you do an inspection, is it like regional, or is there like an industry standard that you're building to?
Thank you for your question. So this is the first question we actually stumble upon when we talk to our customers. There is a lot of regulation, especially in the aviation field. I will not dive deeper into details into NADCAP and ISO certification, but the point how we tackled this, we connected to several hardware producers who already have solutions in facility, like legacy solutions, who actually have certificates, and they are ready to work with us to improve the processes together with their clients to create the added value to the existing solutions. So we are not trying to, go through 7 years of certification by ourselves, but we work with a ready-to-go solution to provide them only the software.
And how do you ensure that there's a uniform inspection of the parts?
Can you clarify the question?
Well, like that you're achieving like the same standard each time you run the data for the inspection.
That's the whole point. It's now currently really dependent on human and on the human experience, human perception. Mm-hmm. So there are some robotic solutions who can provide you more, I would say, uniform collection of data and processing, but the process itself is all manual. So reporting and quality and analysis of the data, it's all manual right now.
And how are you able to interact with legacy systems? Because I know a lot of these big companies really don't want to change. And so are you able to even have like a standalone app, or do you have to actually integrate with like what's existing there?
That's a great question. We actually stumbled upon with this question while we went to some suppliers of Airbus for the inspection solutions. I know that some of the companies are ready to go with the cloud. They are ready to grow with the new technologies, but some of them really like on-premise solutions closed on the system, so we propose both options right now. And answering your question more specifically, we are working with the final end user through the B2B2B model, basically, as we just discussed. So we, at the end, sell the annual licenses for software. And if client wants to explore a little before they buy it, we run a POC to see what's the best solution for him to run the cloud or internal on-premise solution.
Perfect. Thank you so very much, and congratulations on an excellent pitch.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that went by quick, guys. We've come to the end of the pitches. So those were 6 great, yeah, you can hear the applause off stage. Everyone's really excited. Those were 6 great companies who want you to reach out to potentially fund them or to take mentor meetings or just to have a chat. So be sure to be active with this group of very young and excited companies working in data. So I'm going to now welcome everyone onto the stage for a final little photo and a goodbye. Now there's also a QR code on the stage as everyone comes in. So if you want to keep in touch with the Applied Data Incubator or gather more information. So come on up, guys, come on. Oh. Perfect. Oh, I'll stand over here too. Excellent work. All right, so as you can see, there's more than one person on all of the teams. So everyone say, data! That's it. Yeah, and data! Woo!